兄貴日記始まるよ。
Hello and welcome to the second episode of Aniki Nikki, the podcast from Japan about stuff from Japan. I'm your Aniki Pato. Today, we'll have the first in a new series about kids shows in Japan. With me, I've got a guest who I'm pretty sure knows next to nothing about said topic. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Steve. For those who watched the first episode, I'm actually the husband of Flora from the first episode, as I said. I have been a fan of Japanese culture for many years, probably since my college years, about 10 years ago. And I used to be a big anime fan, but not so much these days. I'm mostly more interested in the culture, the language, and that sort of thing. So this should be a fun little topic that we're going to be talking about today.
He's lying. He's still a huge weeb.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Steve, what do you know about kids shows in Japan? Like, if someone said, "Oh, what's a Japanese kids show?" What would you think about?
Super Sentai is another. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider. Sort of the same kind of thing. Like Tokusatsu in general, just a lot of action sequences, a lot of special effects. They're very popular among the young kids. And
very true.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of action. I would say is a big proponent of children's shows in Japan.
Well, you are very right, and our show today that we're going to be talking about is definitely full of action. So what would you say if I told you that there was a Japanese children's show that held a Guinness World Record? Would you be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised, but though I'm very excited to find out what you're about to show me.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk about by far the most popular children's show in Japan. And the reason I chose this one first, was because it's relatively unknown outside of Japan. When I checked on Wikipedia, it was only broadcast in like 5 other countries, and they were all like kind of not unusual, but it was like Sri Lanka, and there was a European country that I can't remember right off the top of my mind, but there's only one. It wasn't like when you have like Doraemon, although it just recently started in America, it was in Japan, it was in China, it was in Germany, it was in India. Like if you look on YouTube, you can find a huge compilation of like Doraemon in different voices and different languages and stuff like that. But this one is, if I remember correctly, it's in Korea, it's in China, it's in Sri Lanka, and then it's in one other country that I can't remember off the top of my head. And it is technically in America, but only through the satellite channel TV Japan. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that really counts because it's also broadcast in Japanese. So the average person is not going to,
In the other countries, are they dubbed in their own language, or is it just subtitled?
They are. Yeah, they are dubbed into that language. So,
okay.
So, Steve, having been to Japan a couple times, I know you have seen this character before, and when I say it, you're probably going to be like, oh. So we'll cut to the chase. The thing that we're going to talk about today is Anpan Man.
Ah.
Yes.
I do know Anpan Man.
It is impossible to come to Japan and not have seen Anpan Man. He is everywhere. Even if you don't know who he is, you'll be like, oh, there's that guy with the red cheeks and the clown nose. And,
yeah, man.
He is... I mentioned in the first episode, I have a son. He's 1.5. He loves Anpan Man. He can speak like 5 words, and one of them is Anpan Man. And
he kind of reminds me of like a Shin-chan kind of character. It's like in that style.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of got that like a little bit. It's even for a kids show, it's kind of like a non-standard art style. Especially the older ones. If you look at the original art for it, it looks like really like, whoa, what is that? How is that popular? So, just a little background about Anpan Man. It was originally a picture book series by the author Yanase Takashi. Started in 1973 and carried on for 40 years until his death in 2013. The anime, however, has continued past that as well. So I said that there is a Guinness World Record. The Guinness World Record that it holds is for most amount of characters in a series, in an animated series. So how many characters would you guess are in Anpan Man? I mean, it's enough that it has a world record, right? Like this is an actual Guinness World Record. What would be your guess?
I want to guess it's like this includes like minor characters, etc., right?
Yes.
Okay.
Unique characters is the classification.
Okay, I want to say 135, just as a random number.
Oh, Steve. Not even close. Not even a little bit close.
Is it
Are you
in
ready
like
for this?
Is it in like the 500s?
The amount of characters in Anpan Man is 1,768.
Oh my god, really?
Yes.
How do you have
They're
that
all
many
unique.
distinct personalities in a single show?
I don't
A
know.
children's show at that.
But yeah, and the funny thing is they only use like 50 of them on a normal basis. I mean, even saying
Right.
they use 50 characters on a normal basis is a lot, but I mean,
Well, here's
figure you have-
another question. How many episodes of the anime have been run in Japan?
Okay, excellent question. So, at the time that they won the Guinness Book of World Records thing, which was in 2013, I think, there was 930 something episodes. But now there are 1,403 as of this recording. I did actually check this morning to make sure I hadn't like even missed one. So as of today, there are 1,403 episodes. To give that some context, there's 838 episodes of One Piece. So you have almost double the amount of One Piece.
Wow.
Which is basically the show that people talk about when they're like, "Man, I'd like to start watching that, but I'm never going to get current, so I'm not going to."
And you tell them you're never going to get current ever.
Yeah. Well, I
Takes
hope you never
forever.
start Anpan Man because yeah. And then to put, for the average, maybe you have no idea what One Piece even is because you're randomly listening to this. For example, The Simpsons, a really, really long-standing show in America, has only 638 episodes as of this recording. So
Wow.
you've got over double the amount of Simpsons episodes. I mean, that's a lot, right? Like that's like a kind of staggering number.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
I think.
How many years has it been on the air though?
That's a good question. I did not look up the anime start date.
It's got to
I'll
be
look
from
it
the
up.
70s, right? At least.
I'll tell you right now.
Because the Simpsons have been on for over 25 years, right? At least.
Okay, so it started on October 3rd, 1988.
Okay, that was around like Dragon Ball time, I think. Right?
Yes, that is.
Does that sound right?
Yes,
Right.
that's right.
Hmm.
But the thing about Anpan Man is that it doesn't follow a seasonal thing. It's technically still the first season of Anpan Man.
Oh man.
There was some like distribution changes, but as far as I know, they never really took a major break. Like it started out as an NHK production, then they moved it over to Nihon Telebi, which is like one of the major public broadcast. Well, it's not public; it's a private company, but it's a free channel.
Right.
Japan has like 9 free channels, and that's one of them.
Right. So the manga artist, he basically never took a break ever since he created Anpan Man, right? Sounds right?
Yeah, that's the idea. Like, that's ridiculous.
Working tirelessly. That's that Japanese worker spirit, man.
So in addition to the 1,403 episodes, there's also a whopping 27 full-length movies.
Man.
Sometimes based off of, like, certain characters, sometimes based off new characters. It's
Right.
it's a thing. It's a crazy thing. So let's talk about. I want to talk about first the kind of the voices of Anpan Man, because it's a pretty star-studded cast when it comes to like the main heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And there might not be names that you recognize, but when I kind of gathered some of their other notable roles, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, that guy? No way. So the first one is the voice of Anpan Man. Not technically, actually a a woman voice, very common. I didn't know that because it sounds like, I mean, she's a really incredible voice actor. So
Right.
the voice actor or actress, I guess, for Anpan Man is Toda Keiko, who you might be like, well, I don't know who that is. Who is that? But you definitely do know who she is because she was the voice of Matilda Ajan in Mobile Suit Gundam, as well as the movies.
Oh.
She was also the mom in Densha Otoko, the drama series, not the movie.
Yeah.
Which in that movie in that drama series they actually made a bunch of jokes about her being a voice actress.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that drama.
Yeah, there's a thing. So like in the drama, he has a figure of Matilda, and he like hears his mom yelling at him from the kitchen right as Gundam is like running on television, and he's like, wait a second. But he never actually puts two and two together. But it was a neat little Easter egg kind of thing.
Yeah, very cool.
So some other notable roles she had was there's a 2001 TV drama called Hero, which also eventually became a movie. It's about a lawyer. She was in that. And then probably her other biggest one is Gegege no Kitaro. She was the voice of Kitaro in the third series of it. There's been a whole bunch of like remakes and stuff of Gegege no Kitaro, including one that just started 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But she is not Kitaro in that one. They have a new person for that. So she's well known for that. I guess do you know Gegege no Kitaro? It's not really popular overseas.
No, I don't know.
So it's a show about yokai, which is like Japanese demons, and they have he's kind of like paved the way for hair over one eye, and then he's got his grandpa. He's half yokai, half human, and his grandpa is an eyeball. He's like
just
an
like
eyeball
a floating,
with
floating
a body.
eyeball.
Well, he's got a little tiny body.
Okay.
But he's like 2 inches tall. It's pretty great. His name is Eyeball Grandpa. Meidama Oji-san. Oji-san. So
that's cute.
Yeah, it is. So Anpan Man is obviously the hero of Anpan Man. We have he has got a bunch of other characters that are like his sidekicks. Like my favorite is Shokupan Man, which means basically Toast Man. So I always call him Toast Man, and my wife gets really angry at me.
Why?
Because she's like, it's Shokupan Man. She's like, you can't tell our son it's Toast Man. He's going to go to school and be like, Toast Man. And everyone's going to make fun of him. There's also Curry Pan Man, who, his head is made of curry pan.
Nice.
There's also Akachan Man, which means baby man. It's
baby
another
man.
one of my favorite ones. Yeah. He's a baby. That's his thing. He's just a baby.
Just hanging out in diapers.
Yeah, he hangs out with Hamburger Man a lot. Hamburger Man, as you can guess, is a man with a hamburger head. There's also Yakisoba Pan Man, which yakisoba is like fried noodles with sauce. And the thing about Yakisoba Pan Man that I like is his horse. He has a horse because he's a Western character.
Yeah.
And his horse's name is just Sauce. So it's like he's like, Sauce. Let's go, Sauce! Like, it's great.
It just sounds like the creators of Anpan Man just went down the convenience store, like bread aisle, and was like, all right, we need some character names. What do we got here? All right, we got some yakisoba pan and some curry pan. Yep. These are some good names. Let's put them in the show.
There's some female characters like Melon Panna. I always thought her name was Melon Pan Anna, but it's just Melon Panna.
So like a play on words like omna, like woman.
Well, I think it's supposed to be like the name Anna, and then like put into Melon Pan.
Right.
So yeah, she's melon bread. Then she has a sister, who is roll panna, who is a roll bread, like a dinner roll.
Right.
She's kind of interesting because she started out as an evil character, kind of like the Green Ranger in the Jew Ranger / American original Power Rangers.
Right.
Because the evil guy changed her heart.
Wait, the Green Ranger was evil? I thought it was the White Ranger who was evil. No?
No, well, the White Ranger is the Green Ranger, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
he
true.
came out as the Green Ranger, and then
Right.
he was like super badass in his Godzilla mech, and
Oh, yeah.
he beat up the 5 of them, and then they found friendship.
He pulled out his dagger whistle. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. I kind of want to do an episode about the differences between the Power Rangers and the Jew Ranger show, because there are a lot.
That'd be really cool.
But
question,
yes,
it's kind of been a while since I've watched Kamen Rider, but did they ever do an adaptation of Kamen Rider into English?
they did actually. It was called Masked Rider. It was
Okay.
on around the same time as the Power Rangers.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it did. It was, I think, I want to say it was like V2. I'm sure I'm wrong, and someone's gonna be like, "That's not what it was. It was this one." But I don't know. I don't remember, and I'm not gonna look it up right now. We'll do another episode on that.
Yeah.
But yes, they did. And it was if I remember correctly, it was in the same vein as Power Rangers, where they were out of the suits. They were different people. It was not like dubbed Japanese,
Right.
But then in the suits, it was some kind of like chopped together footage.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, the thing I was just gonna mention about the Power Rangers is, in the Japanese one, the Green Ranger is actually the Red Ranger's older brother, and he's kind of like really mad at the Red Ranger. He's not under mind control. He's like, kind of, I guess, just mad. Anyway, Anpan Man, right?
Yeah.
So, you're right though about the bread thing. In the beginning, it was basically like, all right, how many kinds of baked goods can I make into anthropomorphic things? Okay, now I'm out of ideas. So this guy's a train, and that's his thing. He's just a train with a face.
He's just a train. That's what he does.
Yeah, he rides around like a train. There's a ice queen. She kind of looks like an ice titan from every Western mythological thing ever. She looks like Groot if Groot was made of ice instead of wood. So,
Ice Groot.
yeah, exactly, but less charming.
Right.
There's also like a rose queen and all that kind of stuff, and I mean, there's 1,000, almost 2,000 characters. So obviously they ran out of bread at some point, and a lot of them are just kind of like female versions of other characters. Like there's a girl train and she's pink, and then there's a baby train.
Yeah.
It's a baby and a train. So there you go. Even Yakisoba Man, I think, is just a cheap knockoff of Hamburger Man.
Right.
They're both like Western characters. They look almost the same. I thought it was Hamburger Man the first time I saw him. Like, why does he have noodles in his face? And my wife was like, "That's Yakisoba Man, you uncultured swine."
Yeah, you gaijin.
So, we didn't talk about the bad guys at all. There are obviously bad guys because Anpan Man is a superhero.
Does the bad guys count towards the Guinness Book of World Records amount?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but there's only like 5 bad guys, so.
Oh, really? So they just keep coming back. It's that sort of like, I'll get you next time kind of deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the main bad guy is Biking Mom, or Bacteria Man. He's bacteria.
Bacteria Man.
Yeah. That's just what he is. He's
That's
purple.
really
I
good.
don't really get, like, he doesn't look like bacteria. I mean, I don't even know how you would make a character that looks like bacteria, and clearly Yanase Takashi didn't either. So he was just
He would
like,
look like an amoeba.
all right, I'm gonna make
I
this.
guess. In like petri dishes when they do like cultures and stuff. That's what I picture bacteria as being, just these like little circles of like growth.
Yeah.
that's what I imagine he would look like an amoeba of sorts.
Yeah. Well, what he looks like is he looks like a kind of like a villain from that kind of tokusatsu Power Ranger Kamen Rider thing, like a guy in a black suit with a spiky tail and antenna.
Okay.
So I don't know why he has antenna. I guess because maybe they were going for like the amoeba idea, the kind of like offshoots. Who knows?
Right.
Unfortunately, the author is dead, so I'll never be able to ask him.
Right.
Ooh, bummer.
Yeah,
So anyway, about Viking Man, he's also a super famous voice actor. It's Ryusei Nakao. I should say Nakao Ryusei because I said the other one is Toda Keiko. But
yeah,
who you definitely know because he is the voice actor of Frieza from Dragon Ball.
yeah, I knew his name sounded familiar.
He also did Cooler in Japanese. I don't know if the American person did Frieza and Cooler, but same voice in Japanese. He was also Caesar Clown in One Piece.
Okay.
And he was Crazy Man Mayuri in Bleach.
Okay.
So, you
Yeah,
know,
some
you
pretty-
can kind
some
of
pretty
guess
big
his
names there.
character type. Yeah, he's got that like kind of screechy, weird voice, and he always plays weird characters. But yeah, I mean, he has like a huge list of things. I just kind of picked the most easy ones to relate to for Western audiences. I'm sure
Right.
there's someone who's gonna be like, "You didn't talk about that, and that was my childhood thing." But you know, well, too bad.
It's okay. Well,
You can talk about
it. Yeah, you can cover it in your own podcast, bro.
Yeah, or you could like, comment, and subscribe with the things that I missed.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So Doki, not Dokin, but Viking Man is the main villain. Basically, he flies around in a little spaceship, and he just does bad things. Like he'll be flying around, and someone will be like, "Oh, this ice cream is delicious," and he's like, "I want that ice cream." So he takes the ice cream, and then people call out for Anpan Man, and Anpan Man comes and beats him up. And that's basically how every episode goes.
It's a pretty solid premise.
But he's kind of like a mad scientist as well. He makes these like super Wile E. Coyote-esque machines, but he makes them himself. It's not like Wile E. Coyote like mail orders everything. Viking Man is just like, all right, I'm gonna make this new machine, and he's really wasted talent, I think.
He's like a He's like a
do a lot
cartoon
of good.
MacGyver of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. But his big thing is he rides around in a spaceship with a huge hammer and smashes stuff. So
I see.
he also has a sidekick, girl character Dokin-chan. Comes from the Japanese onomatopoeia Doki Doki,
Okay.
throbbing heart.
Right.
So she's really cute. She's kind of like the idol of the bacteria world. So she hangs out with Viking Man, and she's like, "I'm bored. Do something." And he's like, "Okay," because I can't say no to you. Or like,
Right.
she's really funny. She's weird because she's not always a bad person. Like Viking Man is just like, I'm a bad guy, and Dokin-chan is like just really selfish. So
She doesn't
not
know
like,
any better.
"Oh, I gotta." Yeah, kind of. She's not as much like Viking Man, where he's like, I'm gonna mess with Anpan Man because I'm a bad guy.
Right.
But if Anpan Man gets in Doki-chan's way, then she's like, all right, well, I don't care if you're the good guy. This is what I want to do. And also, she's a huge fangirl of Shokupan Man, or as I call him, Toast Man. So she's got like posters of him in his room, and whenever she sees him, her eyes turn to hearts and stuff like that. It's really cute. So the thing about Dokin-chan is she is voiced by Tsuru Hiromi, who you will know most prominently as Bulma from Dragon Ball. Very unfortunately passed away last year.
Yeah.
So for me, having, got into Anpan Man since my son was born, a lot of people were talking about like, oh, the voice actor for Vegeta worked with her for forever and all that kind of stuff. But like the voice actor for Viking Man worked with her on 1,700 and something episodes of, 1,403 episodes of Anpan. Well, less than that because she died last year. So it'd be like 1,200 or something like that. Anyway, a lot of episodes. Mm-hmm. Plus, they were both in Dragon Ball together because he was Frieza.
Yeah.
So like I felt the first thing I thought was like, oh my god, that guy worked with her in multiple productions for
Yeah.
like 40 years.
He must have been devastated.
Yeah. So they do actually have a new voice actor for her. I haven't heard it yet because I mostly show him old episodes on Hulu, so I'm sure I'm going to be mad about it when I hear it because it's not her, but what can you do?
Yeah,
so,
right.
There's also some like other kind of minor bad characters. There's Horror Man, who is a skeleton. He loves Dokin-chan. But sometimes he's a good guy. I don't know. I was watching one yesterday where for some reason he was getting in the way of Biking Man. I asked my wife why, and she's like, I don't know. Because that's how he is. He loves Dokin-chan. So
just morally ambiguous.
Yeah. And then, let me see, who's some other bad guys that show up? Like the Ice Queen I was talking about is a bad guy. She's mad at Shokupan Man because people think he's handsome, and that takes away from her being beautiful, that kind of stuff. So like Biking Man and them kind of like show up at her place, and they're like, oh, we'll help you kill Anpan Man. She's like, okay. So that's kind of the cast. Now let's talk about the best part about this. That is Anpan Man's powers and weaknesses.
I wanted to ask a quick question real quick about Anpan Man in terms of like, because it's been such a long show, do they recycle the same plots over and over? Because I know that that's a common issue with long-running shows and manga especially. Like, for example, what's that one manga that follows a police officer in a police booth?
Kochikame.
Yeah, Kochikame. Yeah, and they say that they cycle the same plots over and over because over decades it's like hard to remember that this plot happened, so they're just like, no one's gonna care, let's just run it anyway.
Conan does that sometimes too.
Conan. Does Anpan Man do the same thing? I mean, I think it's probably easier with a kid demographic that you can just play the same plot over and over and the kid doesn't care because they're like 5, you know what I mean?
I'm sure they do. Like I said, Anpan Man for me is a relatively recent thing. So I haven't actually seen any double plot things, but I'm sure that they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 1,400 episodes. I'm sure at one point, Biking Man did the same thing twice.
yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about Anpan Man himself.
Yeah, let's do it.
Anpan Man he was created, or born, I guess you would say, when a shooting star landed in an oven that was baking an anpan. So anpan is a red bean paste bun, and the baker in the show is Jamu Oji-san, or Uncle Jam. Like, he's not made of jam though. He's one of like 3 actual humans in the show.
Oh.
But his name is Jam, and so. He's always, I don't know, he kind of confused me when I started because I thought he was going to be full of jam too, but no, he's just a regular baker. So the thing about Anpan Man is, since he's a piece of bread with a body for some reason, he doesn't eat or drink at all in the whole show. There's a whole bunch of other people who'll be like, oh yeah, let's eat. And he just like kind of stands there and doesn't eat. So there's a fan theory that I kind of love, that he feeds off his own bean paste brain. Like the bean paste inside his head is what gives him sustenance.
Oh God.
Which is kind of hilarious to think about, I think.
But he looks like he's a human though, right?
No, his head is bread.
Oh, okay, but he has
We're
like
gonna talk
a human
about that in a
body.
minute.
He has a human body though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know if his whole... See, there's a lot of ambiguity in Anpan Man.
In what way? Like,
I don't...
like the camera angle's only like the top torso and to the head, or?
Well, so since his head is bread, sometimes it gets crushed and stuff like that. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But I've never seen his body be crushed, so they kind of like avoid the issue of, is his body a body or is it a bread?
Okay.
So, I mean, because when he was born, it was just that there was an Anpan Man cooking in the oven and a shooting star landed in it. So, unless Jamoji-san was also cooking a human body with that, It's kind of like, well, what happened there? So
Yeah.
So let's talk about Anpan Man's powers before we talk about his weaknesses, because the powers are kind of hilarious. So he's got two basic things. He's got the on punch and the on kick, and then he's got like souped up versions of both. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's what it sounds like. He just kind of flies in and punches, and it's over, which is actually what became the inspiration for One Punch Man, who can defeat anyone in one punch. Mm-hmm. Same idea. He can fly, which is cool. And then he's got, this is my favorite of his super OP powers. He has super hearing. So if anyone in the entire world calls out for help and says his name, they're like, Anpan Man, help me. He can hear them in the entire world. And he knows where they are, and he flies to where they are. Like, is that not the most OP thing you've ever heard?
That's super OP, dude.
Yeah. So like he's in Japan, and someone in like Australia calls out, and he's like, "Oh, I'll be right there," and he flies there.
So can he also knock out people in one punch, like One Punch Man, as you said before?
Oh yes.
That's also a pretty OP skill, I would say.
Or one kick. He's got the on kick too. You can't discredit that one.
Dude, he's super OP.
Yeah. And then his weirdest power is, a lot of times he'll come across someone who's like weak and kind of out of energy and stuff like that, or starving. And what does he do? He rips off a piece of his own head.
Oh god.
And he's like, "Eat this." And they eat it, and then they become powerful.
Dude, friggin'
that's like a thing.
Parental advisory suggested. Holy crap, dude!
Right? That's like the weirdest thing. I actually thought so. The way I found out about that was I used to teach in a school, and one of my junior high school students, they had to write an introductory paragraph for someone. Mm-hmm. So he chose Anpan Man, and he was like, "This is Anpan Man. He can fly. He can on punch. He can give people his head. They can eat his head." And I was like, "Come on, kid.
In English,
you gotta be serious about this." Yeah, that's what he said in English.
So you thought it was a typo, or it was not?
Well, yeah, I thought he was. Well. Yeah, I thought he was messing with me. Like, he's like, "Oh, this guy doesn't know Anpan Man. I can write whatever I want." And I was like, "Come on, you gotta be serious. You're good at English, but you gotta be serious." And he's like, "I am being serious. They eat his head." So then I went over to the teacher, and I'm like, do people really eat Anpan Man's head? And she's like, "Yeah, like, duh."
Yeah, like, where the hell have you been, dude? This is common knowledge.
Like, isn't that weird? It's like, well, what happens? And then he gets a new head. I said, what?
So he just like grows it back like Piccolo style?
Oh
just
no! No!
Just regrows it?
That would be awesome, but the truth is actually even stranger. So, Anpan Man, like Superman, does have a weakness. His weakness is that if his head, since it's made out of bread, gets wet or smushed or otherwise dirty, he loses all of his powers and he like can't move. So a common thing is like Biking Man has a big ass hammer. He'll go over and he'll smash his head. And then he'll be like, "Oh, my head is smushed. I can't do anything." Or he gets like a hose and he sprays Anpan Man in the face. And he's like, "Oh, my head is wet. Oh, help me." Oh, there's even a guy that is there's a bad guy that's like so OP that they never use him. He's a Mold Man, or it's like Kabirundun or something like that.
Yeah.
So he just like he has the power to make Anpan head moldy. So clearly that's way too strong, because then Anpan Man can't fight him, so they never use him. But
yeah, dude, just write him out of the show. It's just like total showstopper there.
So you might think like, well, if Anpan Man is so weak to water and sand and dirt in general, he's not that kind of strong. Like Biking Man can do whatever he wants on a rainy day, right?
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, Yanase Takashi figured you out. He has a like fishbowl space helmet that he wears in bad weather.
Oh god.
So now here's the thing. Well, the rest of his body gets wet and he doesn't lose his energy. So that's leaving some it's kind of giving some clout to the his body is a human body theory, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
But how did the body get there? And what the heck was Jamo Oji-san doing? That's what I'm worried about. So, like I said, he gets his head squished, or sometimes he gives people pieces of his head, and then he loses his powers. And then you might think, all right, well, how he can't Piccolo himself, so what's he gonna do? Well, in that case, he gets Jamo Oji-san to make him a new head.
And the way that he gets like a new head, just like put in the oven.
Yep. He doesn't need a shooting star anymore. He just makes a new head. It just looks like Anpan Man, right? So he'll be like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so it's like his oven is now permanently like superpower. Anytime he puts some bread in there, it just comes out as like super OP Anpan Man, basically. Right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he can make normal bread if he feels like it, but like if he makes,
he sets it to normal bread mode. It's like turns that dies like I'm not making any Anpan today. I just want regular bread today.
Or I always wonder like if he accidentally makes Anpan Man, does he still eat it anyway? He's like no one's watching, right?
It's like, man, I feel pretty good today. That's some good Anpan.
So the way that it works is he gets his head crushed, and then someone runs back to Jamo Oji-san, and they're like, Anpan Man's head was crushed, make him a new one. He's like, okay. And he instantly makes him a new bread. There's no like waiting 3 hours for the bread to settle or whatever. There's no degassing. He's just like, need bake. It's over.
Dude, is Jam just like always at the ready? He doesn't have a job or anything. He's just like
he just waiting, sits in his bread factory all day,
just hanging out. I'm like, you ever need Anpan, bro? Got the hookup, man.
He actually has a mobile oven in the Anpan. They have a
mobile
a
oven?
machine. Well, it's like a tank that he has, and it's Anpan Man's face. It's called the Anpan Man Go.
It's a bread truck.
Yeah, well, it's like a bread tank,
right?
Because Shokupan Man has a real bread truck that he like delivers toast around the world with, but Jamo Oji-san, this is like a real tank.
So
it goes
good.
Anywhere. It's an all-terrain vehicle. It looks like Anpan Man's head. It's great.
So
it has a mobile oven.
Does he just like kind of show up in the middle of nowhere and being like, "Yo, I got you the bread hookup, man"?
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. How do they communicate though? Do they got like a walkie-talkie kind of thing? Like, yo, I need a new head, bro. He's like, I'm on my way.
So the one I watched yesterday, right? It was Anpan Man gets his head crushed by Biking Man's hammer, and then there's a side character Batako, who is just a regular human that works with Jamo Oji-san. It's like his understudy or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're like, Batako-san, run back to Jamo Oji-san and tell him that we need a new head. He's like, I got it. So he jumps in the Anpan Man tank. He runs back. He's like, we need a new head, stat. He's like, all right. He bakes it. He then gives the head to Batako-san, who rides back in the tank. And for some reason, Biking Man has not killed Anpan Man at this point. I mean, they were far away, too.
Right.
So, like, finally, he gets back, and then how does he give him the new head? He just throws it at him. Like, it's like, all right.
Like, here, catch!
Yeah, exactly. And then the head just knocks off his old head.
Oh my god.
Like, it just falls to the ground, and then the eyes turn into X's, and that's how you know, like, it's lost the Anpan Man life energy.
This is the bad bread. You just let it sit on the ground.
Yeah. Like, they never talk about what happens to the old head. Like, does it grow a new on body? Or is it just dead? Does someone eat it? Does it still have the powerful energy in it after he's, like, effectively dead? Or does it disappear?
I don't know.
Do they bury it? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, so they throw in a new head, and then he kind of, like, automatically attaches it, and then he's like, Genki Hyakbai, Anpan Man! And then he beats the crap out of Biking Man. And that's how basically every episode goes.
Does he get stronger with each, like, new head, or is it implied that he's stronger?
This is like a Saiyan. Like, every time I lose a battle, I'm stronger.
Yeah, like, because it's implied that, like, he gets a new head, and somehow he now has the skill or the strength to finally beat his foe. It's... it just
Well,
seems to me that
I think
it's
the thing
very
is-
Saiyan-like.
Well, I think what it is that usually Anpan Man, he's not like physically outmatched by Biking Man. Biking Man is just a bad guy, so he like kind of tricks him.
Right.
He gets him with a cheap shot, and then he's like, "Haha! Now your head is smushed, and I'm gonna crush you with my giant hammer." And then he gets a new head, and he's like, "Not so fast! I'm punch, bah!" And
right.
then,
Like, fool me once,
You know
shame
how-
on me.
yeah, exactly. So you know how Team Rocket in the Pokemon show has their little thing, like Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Right.
Biking Man has a thing where he says "bye biking" every time he gets hit.
That's
So it's
really bad.
You know, he punches or kicks him, and he like flies off and does the little pa-ching thing. He's like "bye biking," and that's his thing.
Oh,
So,
God. Okay.
yeah. So that's the basics of Anpan Man. What do you think? What's your feeling about Anpan Man?
I mean, sounds like a pretty cool show. Honestly, like, I would watch it. It's not even gonna lie. Because, like, I think it, like, really hits the whole, like the whole superhero aspect of it, you know? Like, remember we were talking about Super Sentai a little bit? Like, I think it kind of, like, hits that same sweet spot of, like, very black and white, good versus evil sort of thing. But it's also,
Yes,
but
definitely.
it's also in a playful way that any child can enjoy.
Right. The thing that I like about it is that Anpan Man always like gives Biking Man a chance. Like sometimes they see each other and he's just like, "Oh, it's Biking Man," and he's like, Anpan Man. Fuck you. Like,
you mean like he sees him at the grocery store, like, "Hey man, what's up?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'll see you later tonight. I got this new plan going on." He's like, "All right, cool. I'll see you then."
Yeah, and you know, but Anpan Man's never like, "Oh, I better beat you up now because I know you're gonna do something bad later." He's like, "Oh, hey, Biking Man, that was kind of rude, but okay."
Right. He always
Or
gives
same
him the
with,
benefit
like-
of the doubt.
Yeah, same with Dokin-chan. Like, she'll just show up sometimes, and they'll be like, "Oh, Dokin-chan, hey, what's up?" There was another one I was watching where it was there was these ice cranes, like the bird, not the
Yeah,
construction
I gotcha.
equipment.
Yep.
So Dokin-chan was like, "Oh, how cute," and she like kind of kidnaps one of the ice cranes because she doesn't understand that that's like bad.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're attacked by someone else, and basically she realizes that like she needs to let the ice cream go because it's not happy.
Mhm.
And then so he doesn't beat her up because he's like, "You made the right choice, Dokin-chan. Thank you." And she's like, "Whatever, Anpan Man. I'll get you next time," and leaves. But like there's like peaceful resolutions as well. So I like that. You know, it's not just like
It's not always
show up,
violence.
"Oh, he's the bad guy, so I got to beat him up," you know.
Yeah,
A lot of times in those kids shows, they're like, "The bad guy," and they're like already on the defensive.
Mhm.
But in Anpan Man, it's kind of like, "Oh, hey, oh, you're doing bad things. All right, well, I'm gonna punch you in the face." So
Right. It reminds me of like what is it? Is it Dora the Explorer that has Swiper, the little fox
Yeah.
thing? Yeah. Where
Yeah.
like every time you see him, it's like, oh, he's definitely up to no good. But like you're making it sound like it's not like that in Anpan Man. Not always, anyway.
right, not always anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely. And then like in the musicals, they have
Hold on, there's
live
musicals.
action-
Hold on, there's musicals for this too.
Well, it's live action stage shows there's Anpan Man museums. There's like 5 Anpan Man museums.
5.
But yeah, in various parts of Japan.
That's
But
a
they're
lot.
basically what they basically are is it's like an amusement park, a mini amusement park, like no rides and stuff like that, but like themed rooms
Yeah, sure.
and then like shows. And then there's a huge shopping mall attached to it, of course, because you know, there's bank in Anpan Man.
It's like the studio. It's like the Studio Ghibli museum, sort of, in a way.
Yeah, that's actually a really good kind of parallel.
Yeah, like it's a lot of like visuals, but not necessarily like rides or anything like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They have like a lot of the original art, like cells and stuff like that. They have, and then since it's for kids that are aged like 1 to 4 or something like that, they have play areas where you can just kind of like let your kid play with all the different kind of Anpan Man toys that they can't normally play with. So that's really nice. And they have like interactive music shows, and then they have regular like stage show type ones too. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat thing. But in those ones, a lot of the times, Biking Man will just kind of show up because it's a much smaller stage, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Oh, nothing. All right, that's cool. And then he's like, "Oh, they're eating something that looks delicious. I want that, so I'm gonna take it."
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, Anpan Man, look behind you!" And then he gets smacked in the back or whatever. And
right.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you how do you show this show to your son currently?
So, there's an Anpan Man channel on Hulu, on Hulu Japan. So. He actually likes the music more than the actual show. So a lot of the times, they like do it at his daycare, and he memorized the dance. So
that's cute.
Every day after he finishes his bath, he like runs into the living room and he's like Anpan Man, Anpan Man, Anpan Man, until you turn on the TV and put it on Hulu, and then he like freaks out and does the dance for like 15 minutes, and he's like, all right, I'm good now.
That's cute.
Or even sometimes he just likes to have it on in the background. So he'll like if you turn it off, he'll be like, I was watching that. But if when you put it back on pause, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go play with my other toys now.
That's funny.
So yeah, it is on TV too. It's on TV Tokyo. I think there's new episodes. I think the pace is like once a week. So
okay.
All right, well, I think that's good for today. So thank you so much for listening to our second episode. If you'd like to hear future episodes, you can subscribe to us on Podbean at anikiniki.podbean.com. I said we're going to be on iTunes shortly. We are not yet, but I think after we publish this episode, we will be. So you can search for Aniki Nikki on iTunes if you want. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, or you just want to get in touch, you can contact us on Facebook or Twitter at Aniki Nikki Pod, or email us at anikiniki@gmail.com. So thank you so much again for listening, and we'll see you later. Bye bye, King.
Johnny.